Okay, so we've got Laura Kraft. Everybody that knows Laura, we call her Krafty. It's just, I don't know, Krafty, it starts with a K, and so does karaoke. So there's not a coincidence there, I don't think. So thanks for taking the time to connect with me, and again, congratulations on your recent promotion.
Thank you.
At Rogue
Excited
Valley.
to be here.
And I know that Rick and Tracy and the members are very proud of you and happy that you're part of their team. That's all I ever hear is how people are kind of nice to me, because I somehow thought, hey, you guys should talk to her and K-Mac, and so it seems like it's worked out well. So again, thanks. With the conversation, Laura, some things, if you've seen any of these or heard any of these, I like to ask the question. I do know some stuff about your life and your career, but there's going to be people who hopefully have never learned some of these things, and I'm sure I'll learn some new things. So you grew up in North Dakota, correct?
Jamestown, North Dakota. That is correct.
Where there's a small university there, I do believe.
That is true. University of Jamestown, formerly known as Jamestown College.
Yeah.
The golf season's a little bit shorter there, but there's still some fantastic golf, and it was a great place to grow up.
Yeah. So where did you start? Who's the first person that put a golf club in your hand and got you excited about playing the game that eventually, you end up going to University of Missouri to play D1 college?
So my dad was my big golf influence in my life. It was something that we did together as a family. And even though mom wasn't a golfer, she loved being outside and she loved being with us. So she would walk along, and it was a family affair. It was a great, just little family activity for us to do in the summertime. My parents were both teachers, so the summer was a time where we could all kind of take that time together and maybe travel a little. And golf was a really big piece of that. I kind of glued all of that together. So played a lot with my dad growing up. I'm an only child, so it was really just kind of the two of us that did that. And he kind of noticed I started to have a talent for it, a little natural talent. So he started me with a PGA professional. His name's Mark Johnson. He used to be at Fargo Country Club. Fantastic teacher, fantastic man. We're still in touch to this day. And he gave me some lessons, and the rest is history.
Cool. So, did you play golf there in town, in Jamestown, or did you
Yes.
kind of have to play around?
Yeah. So Jamestown is I'd say probably about 15,000 people. We had one public course and one country club, which has now become basically semi-private.
Okay.
But we were members at the country club, very fortunate. Fun place to play, just a flat parkland North Dakota course. Lots of fond memories out there. And yeah, we mostly played in Jamestown, but eventually when I started to get competitive, that's when we really had to start traveling. Spent a lot of time in Minnesota doing their junior PGA tour, and eventually a little bit larger scale elsewhere too.
Yeah. I would say that, one of the things, I've got 4 kids, and only one of them that is really focused on golf and become a PGA professional. Never saw that coming, actually, honestly. But it's turned out really well. And you know him well, but I know that one of the things that I relish as dad, and I'm sure your dad is, it's actually all the travel. The part that seemed like a hassle at the time is some of the best times about the laughing in the car and
definitely, yeah, and
at the weird that are you just laughing and music and jamming.
Yeah. Oh, lots of music, lots of singing in the car.
Yeah. Surprise.
And the cool thing, yeah. The other cool thing is, with my parents being teachers and having that summertime where they have a little bit more freedom, we basically turned it into family vacations. Like we'd be going, pinpointing places where I'm going to tournaments, but we would always find fun places to stop for food and places to stay. And it was a really cool experience. I feel super lucky that I got to experience it that way.
Yeah. So what, can you tell us a little story of like you remember on the way to a certain tournament, and then maybe it had a great tournament on the way back, something that.
Yeah. So here's a kind of a funny one. We took a road trip down to Oklahoma. It was a course called Kicking Bird. And on the way down, we drove through a nasty rainstorm. It was just, I mean, sheets of water falling from the sky.
That never
And our,
happens in the Midwest. I'm just kidding. I know.
yeah, of course not.
I live in Nebraska. I know it happens.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So we're driving down. Of course, my dad's driving. My mom's in the passenger seat. I'm in the back seat with a big cooler because we'd usually pack a cooler with some snacks and food and whatnot. And the roads are getting really wet. And we start hydroplaning. And I remember being so scared in that back seat going, okay, we're going to tumble into a ditch and then this cooler is going to squish me and we're all going to just roll into, terrifying. However, we were fine.
Yeah.
Okay. We arrived in Oklahoma. My dad immediately changed the tires on the car.
Oh, yeah.
And that tournament at Kicking Bird was one of the kind of major national scale tournaments that I actually won. So
Nice.
it turned out great.
Yeah. It's kind of funny. I'm sure your dad, if he was on the thing, he would be like, yeah, I had, knowing North Dakota, some idea about winters, like, oh, I was going to let these tires go. We're going to make it to
Exactly.
the time to put on the winter tires on the car, when we need them for
That's exactly right.
and stuff. And it's like, nope, they're not going to make it.
That was a little plan change, but that
Yeah.
was great. It ended up being just fine.
I'm sure there was some muffled whispers between him and your mom, like, when we get there, when she's playing our practice round or whatever,
Yes.
we're going to get this taken care of.
For sure.
Or actually, she probably looked at him, like my wife looks at me and says, you're going to get this taken care of.
Yes, very much so.
Cool. How old were you in that time? So you were early teens?
I would have been somewhere around 14, 15, 16. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Can
about
you
right.
tell me
And
one more? I mean, I've seen on Instagram, I've seen, pictures of your dad usually in the past, when you're on your birthday, he would, travel out to see you up here in Washington State
yeah.
before you moved to Oregon. And I'm sure he's come to see you at least once in Medford.
Yes. In fact, he was here for my birthday this 2025. So
right. Yeah. And you went to a restaurant that I visited there with you and K-Mac. So cool place.
Delightful dining. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice
food and golf are two things that my dad and I very much have in common. So there is no shortage of food and no shortage of golf when we're together.
One question, I brought up the karaoke thing, and anybody who knows, you love, that's one of your favorite things to do. And it's one of Kyle McPherson, your fiance, one of his favorite things to watch you do, is what he says.
Yes.
He doesn't do it. But he'll go anytime, anywhere to watch you do it. Smart guy, that guy. So does your dad sing? Did your mom sing? What was the...
Yes. So my dad is not the musician of the family.
Okay.
However, my mom, she was a piano teacher and performer, grows up from a lineage of piano teachers and organists and musicians. Wow. And so there was always music in the house growing up. She used to teach piano out of our basement. And so there were always, students who, as a kid, I was like, oh, these are all my new friends. But really, they were there to learn piano. And she was an incredibly talented musician, just from start to finish, an incredible pianist, an incredible just musician in general. And her teaching abilities really showed that, but her performance abilities were crazy good as well. Unfortunately, lost her a couple of years ago. She had dementia, and the one kind of shining light during that kind of dark, I mean, dementia is a horrible disease. Yeah. Even though she started to cognitively lose some of her functions, her music still stayed for a very long time. She, wouldn't be able to form a complete sentence and try to explain what she's communicating to you, but then she would sit down at a piano and she would play beautifully, and it was just
amazing,
incredible to see. Yeah. So any of my musicality all comes from her and her side of the family.
That's really cool. I hope you and your dad recorded her playing some of those in those moments.
Yes, definitely. I definitely have some videos. And there are old videos of her, when she had all of her functions, of course, playing beautifully too. And that's fond memories.
Yeah.
Fond memories.
I know it's always, I'm sure it's bittersweet to think about that because you're still pretty young to lose your mom that
Yes.
young. I mean, you were in your 20s, right?
Yeah, I mean, you think about dementia and Alzheimer's, you think about someone who's like 80 or 90 and
Yeah.
they're kind of old and losing their functions. My mom was diagnosed in her early to mid 50s and it
Wow.
tumbled fairly quickly. She passed when she was in her early 60s. So it's it's a hard disease. Sometimes life doesn't
Yeah.
seem very fair,
Mm-mm.
but I'm happy she's not suffering anymore,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't trade the time I got with her for anything. She
Yeah.
was a wonderful woman.
Yeah. I know every time her birthday comes up, you have some kind of a celebrate my mom message on there.
Oh yeah.
So I'm sure she's proud of you. I mean, in some way, you're thinking she's sitting there next to Kyle when you're doing
Oh
karaoke.
yeah.
Um,
For sure.
so
For
yeah.
sure.
So you did well as a junior golfer, and you won that kicking bird. That kicking bird. That's a fun one to say.
That
Um,
is a fun one. Yes. Great
and
golf course.
and so you won several events, and you got on some people's radar, and you ended up going to University of Missouri. Were there any other universities you were looking at?
Yeah. So I looked at a lot of Midwest kind of Big 10, Big 12 schools. So we, in part of our fun family travels, we got to do some college visits as well,
Yeah.
which was really cool. So we looked at, Iowa, Iowa State, Kansas, Kansas State, Illinois, Indiana, some of the bigger, like I said, Big 10, Big
I
12
didn't know you were
schools.
so big time that you had that many options.
Well, some offers were better than others, but it was very fun to go visit. That's for
Does
sure.
Kyle know you're that big time? You better.
You know,
Kidding.
he probably gives me a lot more credit than I give myself, honestly. I tend to be a little quietly humble
Well,
and
the rest
he's
of
like,
us
"Look at
know that
her."
you had a lot of options, and Kyle's lucky. He's fortunate. That's what that means.
Life
So
is good. That's for
so
sure. That's
what
for
was the
sure.
thing that made University of Missouri Tiger Golf stand out and made it a simple choice for you?
So, funny enough, before I went to visit Missouri, my top choice was Kansas. And
Hmm.
if anybody knows about college sports, Missouri and Kansas have a deadly rivalry.
Yes.
So I like to joke and say I saw the light. I went to Missouri, um, and as
Shot
soon as we
Jayhawk is going, what?
MIZ baby.
They're going, you went to the dark side, and you're like, yep. No, I'm kidding. I mean, it is black
um,
and gold. So
yeah, for sure, for sure. But no, as soon as I stepped foot on that campus and I met Coach Stephanie Priestmeyer or Stephanie Cooper, she's known as Coop, and her assistant Mindy Coyle. I mean, wonderful people. I still am in touch with them regularly.
yeah,
Those coaches are awesome. It was definitely a family at Mizzou. The atmosphere in athletics was everybody was connected. It wasn't like you were factioned off to okay, golf is over here, football's over here, soccer's over here. We were all very intertwined.
hmm,
It felt very, very small town for something that wasn't a small town.
yeah,
And then, of course, the campus was beautiful. The golf course facilities were beautiful. They had just greenlit an indoor facility for their golf deal, so I knew that if I committed there, that would probably be a part of my experience, and it was.
nice.
And so it just kind of ticked all the boxes, and it became my second home.
Hmm. And that's in Columbia.
Yes, Columbia, Missouri, basically right smack in the middle between Kansas City and St. Louis.
Yeah. So you lived on campus the whole time, or
Yes.
yeah,
So my freshman year, they put you in a dorm, basically the same dorm that all the freshman athletes are in. My roommate was a tennis player, and then we shared a bathroom suite with another one of my teammates and another tennis player. Just fun times. I
yeah,
mean, the dorms are awesome. And then sophomore year, moved off campus to an apartment and kind of hopped around from year to year, staying with different teammates or different athletes or friends.
yeah,
Um, but was always very close by and always just an easy quick bus ride or quick car ride to the campus and stayed there pretty much all day
yeah.
once I was there.
So I remember one time playing one of the first times playing golf with you, and you literally had your team golf shoes that you've you've managed to keep, even though you're a PGA professional, you're on staff, you can get hundreds of shoes. You somehow keep these particular, I think they're FootJoys, you keep them pretty pristine, take really good care of them.
So those particular shoes, I do still have them. They are, I think they're FootJoy Premiers, and they have
Yeah,
MIZZOU embroidered on the side of them. I
yeah,
don't wear them anymore now. I finally retired them, but I do still hold on to them for posterity,
yeah,
along with a few other things I got
yeah.
on the team at Mizzou.
They're on display on a shelf somewhere.
Well, I think they're actually in a box right now, but they'll be on display one of these days.
Yeah, I can
There's
imagine.
plenty of Mizzou stuff in the apartment. There's no
Yeah,
doubt about that.
I can imagine that. So, what something that again, I mean, I know one of the things you got besides the golf experience at Mizzou, we can talk about that. But what's a sort of favorite story about playing for Coach Coop, where you had a great outcome or a great learning, something like that?
So I'll talk about a little learning experience that I had. I was very fortunate. My 4 years at Mizzou, I traveled every year that I was on the team. However, the beginning of my junior year, fall of my junior year, I was rolling through, let's call it some mental instability when it came to my golf game. I started to show some doubt. I started to put a lot of pressure on myself. And so it was one of those deals where I would go out and practice and I would shoot even par, and it would be a normal, crazy, fun day. And as soon as it was a qualifying round for who's going to make the team for this particular tournament, I would go out and I'd shoot 82. I just couldn't put it together when it mattered.
Yeah,
And that was a struggle. I mean, I spent that whole first semester not traveling, watching my teammates go do their thing, trying to be supportive, but it's frustrating. You know that you have so much more in you. So I started seeing, we had a studying sports psychologist on our athletics team that was at our disposal, started meeting with him regularly, started focusing on my mental part of the game rather than just the physical, and doing some different training and things. We got through that winter off season and went back into the spring, and the first tournament of the year, Missouri doesn't exactly have the best weather all year round. So the first tournament of the year, Coop took the team that went previously in the fall.
sure.
So I didn't have a chance to go there. But the next tournament was a tournament that we co-hosted every year with K-State. It was in Arizona, one of our favorite tournaments of the year. I'll talk about that in a second
Yeah,
too. But it was my first time back on the field since the year prior, and I had my best collegiate finish at the time, tying for fourth in that tournament.
wow.
I think I was one under for the tournament, if I'm remembering correctly. But to go back and have that success, that was just the sweetest moment ever.
Sure. Yeah, yeah, definitely. And at what point did you start to go after your master's in education in
Yeah,
positive coaching? Was it kind of as a result of that?
it was, honestly.
You actually felt like that person helped me. I want to help other people. Like,
Yeah, in a lot of ways that it pushed me in that direction. The gentleman I worked with, his name is Dirk. He made a career out of it, so he's doing, working with athletes and making people better every day. Still to this day, he got his PhD actually in positive coaching from Mizzou.
mhm.
So kudos to him. Um, but yeah, I when I went to school, I studied chemistry. I got a minor in mathematics, and my thought was always, I want to be a teacher. I want to be able to, know, take the next generation and teach them something that I'm passionate about, but I wanted to get the science background first. And I realized the reason I love that idea of teaching is the coaching aspect. It's the part of it where you're helping people. And I thought using golf as that platform and using that kind of sports psychology was going to be much more intrinsically valuable to me than going and being a high school teacher.
Yeah,
So I made that switch, and I graduated with chemistry. By the time I figured this out, of course, it was too late to switch, and I wanted to see the degree through. But
sure.
graduated with chemistry, minor in mathematics, and then went on to do 2 more years of school to get my master's in positive coaching.
Yeah, I'd say that the one of the nice things about being a PGA professional is that the people who come to you for that coaching and the people who come to you for that, they want it, as opposed to
Yes.
the average high school, elementary, middle school may not really be that interested in your coaching at that point
Yeah,
because
what
they're just in
percentage
the
of high
normal.
school kids really want to study science? I
Yeah.
mean, it's pretty cool. You get your good eggs, but
It all depends on the instructor and the teacher, honestly. Like
that's true
I
too. That is very
do
true.
have some good memories of, but every great memory I have of high school, even college, was because the professor was a phenomenal person
Yes.
and very engaging. The same way that PGA professionals are. It's like you can have an incredible platform and have a meh experience, but you can have an average platform and have the greatest experience ever if there's the right PGA professionals that make that experience work. So, well, good
That's so
job
true.
to Dirk, obviously, and so he inspired you. Um, and at that point, where we what was there a sort of an understanding with Coop?
Yeah.
I'm sure she
Yeah,
was rooting for you the whole time.
yeah.
Yeah,
So we used to on the team, we used to kind of halfway joke like Coach Coop was mom and Coach Mindy was dad. Because Coop always had that kind of nurturing, like she's there for you when you need her. She can be stern if she needs to, but really she's got that motherly feel about her. She's always got the snacks. She's always encouraging. She's always, my door is open if you need to talk. And Coach Mindy was very much the I'm going to work on your mechanics. I'm going to be, your go getter. She was a little bit more aggressive when it came to the positivity.
yeah,
Um, and their personalities just balanced each other so well.
yeah.
So when you ask about, was Coop on board? Well, yeah, her door was open, and anytime that, gosh, I just don't know about this, you could sit down with Coop, and she would help walk you through it. And she was so much more than just a golf coach. She's a life coach in a
Yeah.
lot of ways.
I was
Um,
thinking, sorry, I was thinking
yeah,
that the interesting part about her is I'm sure that she was super proud of you, and she could see on the one hand, there's that interesting thing, and I'm sure you've experienced it now, but you want to help someone, but they kind of have to almost sort of experience the frustration enough to where you start to go, "Where's this Dirk guy at? I need to talk to him." You know, like she may even mentioned him to you months in it before that, like, "Hey, maybe you should talk to so and so," and you're like, "Nah, I'm good. I'll figure this out." And it's kind of interesting, but it's like we have to sort of bang our head against the wall a few more times before we kind of go, I've tried everything, I give up, but I need to lean into somebody else.
that's the truth for sure. One of my memories from that time where I was kind of having some of those mental struggles and I started to take those steps. Coach Mindy actually sent me an email during the off season. I remember this vividly, and it said something to the effect of, Krafty, I know this semester has been very frustrating for you, but I'm so proud of the way you're working through it and how supportive you've been of your team. And that was like getting a golden ticket. I remember reading that email and just thinking, wow, I'm on the right path. I'm doing the right things.
Mm.
Um, and sure enough, I came back and I was, twice as strong for that last semester and into my senior year.
Yeah.
But yeah, Coop and Mindy were always huge support. I love them to death. They're like family, and hoping to eventually see them soon as I'm planning my wedding here coming up. So
Very cool. Yeah. That'd
get
be
to see
awesome.
some of those mentors
Yeah,
again. It'll be really fun.
I would hope so. You're going to give them an invite and they'll be like, they're going to show up. That'd be cool. But where,
Yeah.
so obviously there's several places you could have this event. So I don't, the one question I did want to ask as a follow-up is, in what you're doing now, currently at Rogue Valley, what if you could sort of picture like what in the coming season or season after that in the future, how would you like to use that experience to be a coach for the members at Rogue Valley Country Club or anybody else that wants to reach out to you?
Yeah. So you mentioned previously that I just got a promotion. I
Mhm.
have stepped into the head golf professional role, which I'm very excited. And under the direction of our director of golf, Tracy Snyder, I feel like we have such a great team right now, and we're really starting to gel. You know, me and Kyle have been there for a year now. It's crazy that it's gone by that fast.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, you know, I think that that mentorship and that experience of, okay, we're not just working on the physical, we're working on the psychological, we're working on the mental. It not only helps me in my teaching, but it really helps me now that I have more interaction with committees and with a board and with you know, the governance of the member owned club, um, because I think it's given me not only a sight of empathy to kind of what other people need and what they want from their golf experience, but how I can help enhance that, just to bring more joy, whether that's playing better golf or whether that's increasing, you know, some kind of amenity that we have on site.
Mm-hmm.
And it helps a lot with that team building of, like, you know, our membership does kind of feel like a family at Rogue Valley. It's a very tight knit membership.